His whole life is just men's Tumblr.
Yeah.
Just
There's about 8 motorcycles on a wall, 1 half-built plane, and 1 almost finished plane.
Like ironandwhiskey.tumblr.com is just going to be flooded with stills from this movie now.
For all your posturing, all your little speeches, you're nothing but a common thief.
I am an exceptional thief, Mrs. McCain.
These headphones have a bunch of buttons on them. I don't know what any of them do.
On, off,
Yeah, but
back, forwards.
why would you turn your headphones off?
Go through the menu.
Just take them off.
Well, what if you have a Bluetooth set of headphones and you want to conserve the battery while you're not using them?
I wonder if these are Bluetooth. Wouldn't put it past me to not know.
They've got a cord that doesn't come out.
Oh, it does.
Okay, then they're probably Bluetooth headphones.
Sick.
If the cord is removable, the headphones are probably usable without it.
I'm not a headphones person.
Oh, okay, cool.
A headphonician. Head Phoenician. No, that's the person in charge of the Phoenicians. Head. What's your D&D idea?
No, I don't want to give it away.
Oh. Can we do a campaign in community?
As in, like, Greendale Community College.
Yeah.
It would work for several of the RPGs I have. It's not D&D. It'd be a different game, technically, but it'd be
And one
a
of your
tabletop
moves
role-play.
is play D&D.
Well, then we'd have
Because it'd have to be super
we'd have
meta.
a session where we just play D&D instead of Tales from the Loop or whatever we use for the actual game setting.
Okay. So you don't want to tell me?
I don't want to tell you what that is, but I have a really good idea for a campaign.
Okay, what is it?
No, you're not allowed to know. You're just allowed to be excited about it.
Oh, okay.
If you leave the room, I can tell the audience, but you edit this, so you'll hear it. So
Yeah.
I want the surprise,
Okay.
because the surprise of the story is good.
I would like a lot of lore and memorabilia around the group of us as people playing it, like the Hellfire Club. I would like shirts.
Shirts, cool. But we'd have to have a name for the group then.
Yeah.
I think Hellfire Club is taken.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where I've heard it, but
Yeah, I mean,
somewhere.
it's recent though. Recent.
yeah.
Recent. Can't believe you didn't binge it, but that's fine.
I am... Well, that's me, Isaac. I'm known for my profound self-control.
Is that so?
Yeah, that's what they say about Sam. They say, Sam, he never lets anything get out of hand.
Who is they?
Just
In this
general
context.
they.
Okay, cool.
You know how they say his head fell off on its own, or they say we're actually in space right now. There's no way you can go to space because where else would we be? They say the Loch Ness Monster was just 3 pelicans in a trench coat.
I want to believe in the Loch Ness Monster.
Why don't you?
It's kind of implausible that it exists.
We don't know what's down there.
Well, they've explored that lake quite
We
extensively.
don't know. No.
Quite extensively.
How
You're saying that
how
there's a
could
cave
they?
system
It's
hidden?
dark.
A hidden cave system.
Well, yeah, you think as soon as they're down there looking for that monster, you think it's going to stay there? No, it's going to go through one of the tunnel
And
portals.
close his door.
It's going to go down to the underwater realm where Godzilla are and everything. Pop out somewhere else. He was just there to have a look at Scotland.
But could you imagine how
and he's
sad
been
that
paying
would
the
be
price
for
ever
the,
since.
for the fucking Loch Ness Monster to be a part of Godzilla's world? He's fucking tiny.
Yeah.
If Godzilla was Godzilla's size and all that other shit down in Godzilla world is Godzilla sized, there's a fucking little plesiosaur plopping around in a shallow river.
Comparison is the thief of joy, isn't it? He probably felt great in that loch. He was like, next to humans, he's doing great.
And then he meets Shaq of the monster world. Oh god.
Yeah. I tried to watch Venom 2 twice.
How did you?
And
was
had
it
to
on like
bail.
an airplane thing or?
Just different mediums.
Okay,
I
cool.
had access to it.
Yeah.
And
I finished it.
it's a very stressful watch.
It's a very shit film.
It is, isn't it? And
Like,
it's sort of it makes you feel, yes, it's got that sort of fever dream quality to it. And the second time I tried to watch it with Emma, and we didn't make it all the way through either, and she hadn't seen the first one. And I thought, okay, this will be fun. I want you to tell me what Eddie Brock's job is from watching this film.
for Emma.
Yeah. We got, I think, nearly halfway through it, and I'm like, what do you think? She's like, so he's some sort of
Oh, are we talking
cop
about
or FBI or something?
the second one or the first
She's
one?
only seen she hadn't seen the first one.
Okay.
So I'm like, I want you to tell me what Eddie Brock's job is based on what you're seeing in this film. And she never got there. Like, he holds a notebook at one point, but that's about it. That's the only hint. Yeah. And then I'm like, he is a long-form journalist. Print journalist. He used to have a YouTube channel. Now he is, I guess, aspiring long-form print journalist. Not, I don't know. What does he seem like? Longshoreman? What's that?
He seems like a dude who has a podcast and goes around interviewing people that don't want to be interviewed.
I don't know why the character doesn't have a podcast, because that's the obvious next step for him.
After a failed YouTube channel, make it a podcast. And
well, you know, podcasting, famously one of the lowest bar forms of art and criticism to enter. Sometimes it's hard not to have a podcast these days.
Don't understand how that film got made. But, or how you look at it as a filmmaker and be like, I'm happy that this is how it ended up. Let's release this to the world. Same with the fucking Morbius movie.
I didn't see it, but I think Venom is there's that thesis within Hollywood at the moment, which is like, maybe if you make it like weird and bad enough, you do a horseshoe theory and it comes good again, and it gets cult following. We clearly can't do good movie, so let's do cult following movie.
We can do good movies,
and you just got tail wagging dogs of let's just make it as mental as possible, which works better in a world where there isn't always a Doctor Strange 2, which is also super weird and crazy and also good.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
That's why it's never going to work.
Why
Sony.
they keep throwing money at Venom or Morbius when they're not trying to make a good movie. They're just they're making movies just for the sake of keeping copyright.
Well, there is a sort of kind of gross barnacle on the side of Marvel. And
which is depressing.
I guess they're trying to do a Sinister Six or something.
But why?
With Vulture now.
They don't have a fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I think they think they're going to. That's the only way it makes sense to me. I think Sony is saying, we're going to get in eventually. We just need to keep like throwing grappling hooks over the side of the ship. And eventually we'll be so intertwined with them. Like, they've already established that all their stuff is a parallel universe to... Is it Earth 616? Whatever the main Marvel one?
Is the Marvel, yeah.
They've already established that all of their stuff is Marvel canon, just separate universe. And so they are confident that the next Avengers level movie is going to have fucking Morbius or whatever in it, and they're going to get a big load of money from it.
But it won't. And why is he listed as, like, all the advertising is the Marvel legend, Morbius? He's not.
No one knows who he is.
He's not. He's in a couple of Spider-Man
And why would you choose one of the like most
fuck.
universally disliked actors currently to headline your movie?
Because he's...
I'm not saying rightly or wrongly, although, you know, it does seem pretty one-sided. But, you know, no one's that keen to see a Jared Leto movie.
As your lead. Like,
As your lead?
As, like, Jared Leto is a very... good actor.
He is a good actor.
He's a good supporting actor.
He's a good villain.
He's a great villain. But like Dallas Buyers Club, he's great, not the lead. He's great.
No, yeah, he's a Academy Award winning supporting actor.
Yeah. Because that film is carried by Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, and also
a very shirted Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, very shirted.
But on the subject of cult following, I don't think either of their, like Venom or... Like, the first one wasn't bad. It was fun. It's not a good movie, but it's fun.
First one was much better than I thought it was going to be.
The second one was not fun.
The second one is delirious.
Mm-hmm. It does. There is no structure to it. It just reaches a point, then it ends.
Yeah.
Which is like, is this supposed to be the middle part of a trilogy that you just haven't told us about?
No one knows, Isaac.
Because
they don't know. Andy Serkis doesn't know.
It's just
Tom Hardy doesn't know.
I wanted Andy Serkis to like. I wanted to love something that he has done.
I want nothing but uninterrupted success for Andy Serkis.
Yeah,
but
I respect him.
Unfortunately, not.
But this was just a misfire.
Yeah. Well, I can only speak for the first half of it.
You should speak for the end of it as well.
Which is a fucking rough ride.
Because it literally ends like...
I will say, though...
He breaks his missus out of a prison that she's
alert.
being held in.
For Venom,
I don't care about
for Venom
spoilers,
2, Let There Be No More Venom.
Old fucking redhead breaks his missus out of a joint. She's got superpowers as well.
Love her as well.
She's great.
I mean, look at
they go
the
to a
cast.
church... And at the church, Eddie Brock turns up and they fight, and that's the end.
Right. Who wins?
Eddie Brock.
Okay.
What are the chances, right? What are the chances?
What are the chances?
I think he fakes his death or some shit. I do enjoy the aspect of...
He Dark Knights it. At the end, he's like,
that,
everyone needs a hero. And then he just sloops away.
That he's living his life with Venom in secret. At the start of the film, I think that's kind of cool. Like,
look,
everyone thinks you're dead, but you're secretly inside me.
The thing is, I still laughed at the stuff Venom is saying, and their character duo.
Because he's got a good vibe.
There is at its heart, there is something kind of irresistible about the absolutely mental Eddie Brock and Venom relationship they've developed.
Yeah. Except
they have not
the No Way Home post-credit sequence. I hated it.
Spoiler alert.
Everyone's seen it. If anyone hasn't seen No Way Home, I'm angry at them.
And that's a little bit of Venom getting left behind.
It is a little bit of Venom getting left behind in the MCU, so that's cool. But what a waste of time. It's just him at a bar talking.
Well,
wait.
Isaac, it must be acknowledged, most of this stuff is a waste of time.
We got him in. He's in the movie. It's technically a thing.
Look, for all of these movies, it's very hard to, it's an open question what is and is not a waste of time in this life. But I think the ratio of time well spent to wasted time is much more tilted to one side than we would like to admit when it comes to all of this stuff we watch and then talk about. But anyway.
You know it's not a waste of time?
You know it's not a waste of time?
Tom Cruise.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Exceptional Thieves. This is a podcast where Isaac and I review and rewrite movies. I'm Sam.
And I am Theodore K. Lawrence.
Okay, I feel like you've said Theodore a few times, and then you're riffing off the end of that.
Okay, I don't remember saying Theodore before, but cool. Okay. I don't remember a lot of things.
Sometimes I cut sections of this out because we fully said it before.
I am the co-host of this podcast.
The current... Okay, should we circle back around?
Okay, cool.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Exceptional Thieves. This is a podcast where Isaac and I review and rewrite movies. I'm Sam.
I guess I'm Isaac.
Yeah. And...
It's less fun.
No, you can say any name you want. I just wanted a new one.
Okay.
You can do Batman.
I'm not Batman, though. That would be a lie.
Just say I'm not Batman, then.
Well, I'm not Batman.
Okay. Welcome to Exceptional Thieves. This is a podcast where Isaac and I review and rewrite movies. I'm Sam.
And I'm not Batman.
And this is a new episode of our new series called Watching a Film and Talking About It for a Bit.
Good title. Succinct.
Yeah. It's succinct if you say it quickly. Do you ever do that when you have to do an assignment or a speech and it's too long, so you just talk a little bit faster?
Just talk faster. It's the simplest way to get your point across. There's
a threshold. You can talk like 10% faster and it still sounds normal. When you start hitting 20%, that's when it's obvious what you're doing. So you've just got to find that realm. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for listening. Do I have to explain what this podcast is, or should we just get into it?
I think we should just get into it. If they're listening to this episode... They've probably listened to other ones.
Yeah, whatever. Or this is
if you found this because of Top Gun, because it's the new season.
Yeah.
New season of Exceptional Thieves.
I guess we should say
4.
This is welcome to the first episode of, I guess, season 4 of Exceptional Thieves, where we're returning to our roots, where we were originally see a movie, talk about it for a bit.
So it's like Community, and we're like, the first 2 seasons are great, and then the third season's just a little bit how you going, and then returns to the roots in season 4.
What was wrong with the third season?
Of Community?
Also, I think it's the 4th season.
Oh yeah, that's the gas leak.
That is the gas leak season. But I know what you're talking about. This is, I guess, the 4th season of Exceptional Thieves. Coming back to our roots. The first season was see a movie and talk about it for a bit. Subtitle.
We did great.
Second season was incredibly long and was watching the entire filmography of Daniel Craig, titled Craigslist. Then season 3 was the Brenton Thwaites Hour, watching and reviewing the entire filmography of Brenton Thwaites, which we haven't technically finished.
We've finished the filmography of Brenton Thwaites.
Seasons 2 and 3 of Titans, reviews forthcoming. But in lieu of that, we're also, like, the filmography seasons, there was a lot more work and a lot more effort required. And if there's one thing we got into podcasting for, it was not working hard. I think that's been apparent in the nature of our output and the scope of our success. And I think it's time for us to take this already very self-indulgent thing.
I thought I was going to say mediocre.
Well, that's for the audience to agree with. It's time for us to take this very self-indulgent thing and sink even lower into the warm soup of what's on at the cinemas right now. Let's have a chat. Welcome back to Let's Have a Chat about films and everything. And so today we are reviewing Top Gun, Maverick.
Yes.
Or as I like to call it, Army Boats, Plane Division, Loose Cannon. So we should say we saw this movie in quite a interesting and exciting environment. We went to, I guess, it's the local premiere, the premiere for our area of the world, and at our local cinema, and we saw the movie and then a live podcast recording. Not ours, but there was a recording for fellow Brisbane Filmography podcast, Cruising for Reviewsin'.
Great title.
Great title. Doesn't it make you sick?
No.
Such a good title.
Craigslist is a better title.
It's not. I'll say that right now. Whatever we come up with. Content of the podcasts, again, I leave that to the audience. But the title, we're never going to beat Cruising for Reviewsin'. Especially not right now when you're on the spot.
Now.
Don't look off into the distance trying to beat Cruising for Reviewsin' on the fly.
I still love Craigslist.
Craigslist is great. The Brenton Thwaites Hour.
Great.
Also
great.
Seamless and elegant as a title. Whatever we come up with next is going to be great as well. But it's never going to be
for other things.
But
it doesn't
it's Tom
just have
Cruise.
To be about Tom
it's
Cruise.
A Tom Cruise podcast.
Yeah, but you could cruise for a review, and without.
Why would you cruise for a review?
I don't know. A lot of people drive while listening to their podcasts.
Yeah, but you're not driving around trying to find the review.
Could you imagine? No. That's illegal to use your phone while you're driving.
It is. That's why I never do it.
Yeah.
I never have.
And never will.
When I get in that car, phone, glove box, I lock the glove box, throw the key out the window, and my phone is in there to this day. Now, it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was an interesting night. I'd
love to do a live recording.
Necessarily want to do that same night again. Just for the watching of the film. I didn't love the amount of people talking.
I tell you what, it was a very lively room, wasn't it?
It was a good vibe. It was a great vibe.
A room full of Top Gun fans and Tom Cruise fans, I think.
Definitely.
And I think a lot of people knew each other a bit, there was a degree of camaraderie where it's kind of like, we're going to yell at the screen a bit. And everyone was kind of okay with it, except Isaac, because he's a big old stick in the mud.
Well, I think for the first time you watch a movie, I want to watch the movie.
So you felt the first
Although
the first
I feel
time...
different about that when it comes to things like Marvel movie premieres and things, when you know you're going to love it because they, for now, from this point onwards, will always have references to other things.
I guess I was okay with this because I cannot overstate how little investment I have in the Top Gun franchise.
Well, now it's a franchise.
So I was not interested. I was not.
Tell
I wasn't.
the listeners when you saw Top Gun.
I
for
wasn't
the first
worried
time,
about
Sam.
my emotional journey being disturbed by the whoops and howls of the swinish multitude around us. I was.
We were having a great time.
I was enjoying them enjoying it almost as much as the film itself. So I only saw Top Gun 1, the toppest gunnest, a week ago. Just purely in preparation for this.
Why had you never seen Top Gun before?
I don't know.
How did you go through
It
life
wasn't a choice.
as a human male and have never seen shirtless men play volleyball and then Jets?
Yeah.
The movie.
It is Jet. You know how they do, like, there's a movie's Cars, then there's planes? This is like planes. This is Jets.
This is Jets, the movie.
Yeah. This is Big Plane Goes Whoosh 2.
From just my first hot take of the new film.
Oh, yeah.
I like that there are more than one kind of plane flown by the good guys.
Yeah.
Like Tom Cruise.
In the first one, it's all the baddies are all MiGs, aren't they?
Yeah, there's MiGs, and then there's them and their
good
F-14s.
Guys, F-14.
And like that's it. But like in this one, you get to see a couple of different kinds of planes. Like it's a planes movie.
Yeah. Like, look, it's a different plane.
Planes.
And they really don't. They don't go into too much detail about the planes. They really are just like, look, different planes. Good plane, gooder plane, bad plane.
They see this one, it's painted differently. Must be the bad guy.
Yeah, and you can tell it's bad because their helmet is blacked out. In case you could tell what ethnicity the pilot is.
I like how before we watched the film, you said something where you thought it was quite strange that in the first one, they go to battle at the end, not knowing where they were battling. Like, it's not stated where the enemy is in that movie.
That's what I having never seen the first one, I saw the trailer for this, and I thought, well, interesting. Who are they fighting against? Because America is not dogfighting with anyone in the world anytime recently or anytime anytime soon.
Yeah.
One would hope. If they do, it's like an incredibly big deal. Like, it's the start of World War. If America dogfights with another nation in any capacity, if America did the mission they do in this movie, and it's not Kazakhstan, then it's World War III.
Yep.
And if it is Kazakhstan, it could still be. And the way in which that is just completely left to one side is kind of gets to my core critique of this movie on a ethical level, which is different. I'm nearly done. Okay. In that it's all of that sort of nonsense, all of that sort of detail or just plot structure is completely left to the side in something like, say, Fast and Furious. And I think that's much more acceptable in Fast and Furious because it's much more explicitly silly and ludicrous. Whereas this, whilst it's still extreme, is presenting itself as, no, this is what the US military is capable of, and this is what is possible for you should you choose this career. There's a recruitment desk in the foyer. This is the American Army, and this is what we do. And so that makes it a little bit more problematic to present a story where who the enemy is just irrelevant.
I somewhat disagree. I enjoy...
Should we say spoiler alert at this point?
Yeah, sure. I mean, they're not listening to the podcast and not having seen the film.
Well, sometimes some people do that.
That's
some people
weird.
like to do that. Spoiler alert for Top Gun Maverick. Go see it. I don't care.
I like that in the first one, you never find out who the villain is, but the villain only exists at the end, and it's an unnamed country. I like that in this.
Why do you like that?
I just think that's kind of cool. You don't need a bad guy. The bad guy doesn't necessarily exist.
But they're the army.
I know, but
Sorry,
I think
Navy, which I thought army was umbrella term.
Quite cool that in this, instead of just like waiting until the end and they get a mission, first things first, don't name where they're going. from the start, this is what the movie is. We don't know who the bad... Like, we, the audience, don't know who this is, but they're going somewhere.
Yeah, they're like, long story short, uranium, etc.
Once again, we're not going to tell you who the
We're
bad
not going
guy
to tell you,
is,
it doesn't
but
matter.
the chances of nuclear warfare exist in our universe now. So.
Like every Tom Cruise movie, nuclear war is quite likely. Yeah, and to me, this is the most... This is the most... This is the most interesting aspect of the whole thing for me. Like what they have to do to get around that. Like it's very good the way in which you're very, very clear on what the parameters of the mission are. Like you're very familiar with that little 3D map.
Exactly this amount of time. There is a valley that they have to fly
There's a valley, there's a canyon, there's blah, blah, blah.
Stuff.
Like, what an absolutely insane and impossible place to build a uranium enrichment plant.
I know.
It's not happening in a million years, but sure. And then it's only when they get there at the end and there's snow everywhere, that's when I kind of realized, oh yeah, we've never actually seen footage or images of the thing itself.
Yeah, we had black and white overhead ones for a little while beforehand.
Yeah, they've just given us this computer representation. Because as soon as you see the snow, that really narrows it down a lot. And I think the guest host on the podcast we were watching, he made the point that, like, you might think, well, obviously it's Russia. But if Russia already has a nuclear capability, so there's no way America would be bombing another uranium enriched. Like Russia's like quote unquote allowed to have nuclear weapons. So we're definitely not doing this strike on Russia.
But there are other countries in the same, I say, region or close enough to the ocean for this to be plausible that still have snow.
Yeah, it's close to the ocean because
they fly off of the ocean and they're directly into the valley that they're flying in.
The river of the valley.
When they got there, that's the first time I realized that was a thing, because all these maps and things, it was just like, yeah, they've obviously flown into the country and then they enter the valley. But no, they've come from the ocean.
They are like surfing USA into the canyon. And until then, cool. I thought, I don't know why, but my brain had thought, okay, it must be like Pakistan. Just like looking at the mountains. The mountains are so extreme. I thought, okay, maybe Pakistan have a uranium, because that would still be insane, but it's slightly more possible that they do
don't
it
have
on Pakistan.
Alpine. They have snow, but they don't have alpine snow.
Yeah, they do.
Trees in Pakistan, like that, like those kind of pine trees.
Well, I don't know about the tree. I'm saying this is when I've seen the 3D representation.
Yeah, they've got the intense.
I don't think it was meant to be Pakistan at the end now. And so then at the end, when Tom Cruise and Miles Teller have their little running about mission, which was a lot of fun and a great little added extra. I didn't think that was going to happen.
I did not think that was.
I thought it was just going to be big planes go whoosh, and then they get back and then they high five each other.
And everyone else leaves their posts and starts cheering.
Well, this is going to be interesting because they can't show any enemy soldiers on foot, because that will completely narrow down. And the enemy soldier couldn't say anything because that will completely give away where they're supposed to be.
Yes.
To cut to the chase, I think it's kind of the most troubling form of war propaganda, where the whole movie is about the absolute essential nature of not just being in the military, but training to the absolute extreme in order to achieve extremely difficult objectives. And you can just blow up multiple planes and it's fine. There's an infinite amount of money because obviously that's required in order to keep this military machine going. Where in the narrative of this military machine, you don't even have to say who the enemy is. It's just a given that there is always an enemy, and you always have to be on an absolute war footing in order to defeat them.
Works. That's definitely how the world works.
Depict stories of war and the military in movies by all means, but to just extract the coolness and the emotionality of being in Top Gun and feel no need to contextualize it in anything to do with an actual conflict. I think that's bad. And that's a bad thing to do.
But was it fun?
It was fun because Big Planes Go Whoosh and Tom Cruise is a very compelling actor.
They do go whoosh.
Should we go through the plot a little bit?
We should.
I
would like to mention... Actually, no, that'll come up during the plot. That's
okay,
fine.
yeah. And in fairness to this movie, big planes do get whoosh.
They do.
A whole bunch.
Quite a lot.
It really delivers what it promises.
Yeah. It would have been an expensive thing to make.
It would have been.
And an expensive thing to do in the real world if this were remotely how the military works. But I do not believe that it is remotely how the military works.
Well, definitely not for most people in the military.
Yeah. Very, very few people in the military get to step within 5 meters of one of these planes.
Get to just hang around vibing, going to the really nice beach bar near where you work, and then just turning up and competing at a really high level with your mates in order to save the day in an undefined way.
Plot.
So
movie opens.
So we open with the opening of Top Gun 1986. With Welcome to the Danger Zone, and
it's new footage, but it
didn't need to be, and it's just planes taking off and landing. And the bit I liked about this was how all the other staff on the boat or the ground control guys, every time a plane took off or landed, they're just high-fiving the shit out of each other, and punching the air, yes, we did it again.
It's
plane landed. Yes, I thought it was cool to see the way the plane has to trip itself up on landing so it can land
so
quickly.
It can stay on the boat.
Yeah.
They
should land into a big...
cool to start your film that way.
Yeah?
Yeah, because that's the opening for the first one. They're yep, this is a Top Gun movie.
I guess.
And now we move on because this movie is going to be a little bit different, but not much.
It's just kind of empty.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to mean anything. It looks cool and it's pretty and it feels fun.
No, well, I think for me it would be more fun if there was a character in it.
I really fucking dig that dude whose office is inside the fucking tarmac on the boat. There's that little tiny cockpit guy submerged in the bloody tarmac of the boat. He's got his little cage above him and he just lives there doing whatever he does, watching the planes from below.
Well, I don't know if he lives there. I mean, I don't know if he's got a bed and stuff.
I wonder if it's air conditioned in his little glass.
He's got a little fan.
Cage.
Yeah, it's actually awful down there. It's like inside the Rhino in Ace Ventura for him.
Warm.
Now
he has to get out through a little rubber sphincter every day.
Now every day. Now Tom Cruise is still Maverick is still just being an absolute bloody maverick, isn't he?
Well, yes. It's implied in the title.
I liked the very elegant explanation of his continued presence in the Air Force or Navy. Why is it Navy but planes? I guess because the planes have to land on a boat, so then the boat people have to do planes.
Well, America has an Air Force, but their planes still take off from naval vessels.
They do?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Because our Air Force... our Navy has a bit of an Air Force as well.
A bit of one.
Yeah.
But then there's not going to be an Australian spin-off of this.
No, I hope not.
It would be...
I wouldn't watch it. Top Gun.
Middle Guns.
Hey.
Well, look, we're not Top Gun, but we're pretty good.
Planes, mate.
Planes, mate.
Hey, planes, mate.
Army planes. I'm going to keep making that joke, just so you know, and because I'm not going to stop finding it funny.
What?
Boat Army, plane division.
Plane division.
Plane division.
Plane.
Not plane as in boring, plane as in, ooh, sky. No, I liked the very elegant explanation that Maverick is still being a bloody maverick in the military this far forward because Iceman just keeps vouching for him.
Yeah.
And just keeps... And he's risen through the ranks and they have their bond from the first movie and that's how he's still in it. Great.
I thought that was cool too.
Yeah. And... yeah, this whole movie it's kind of amazing how enjoyable it was to watch, given how basic it is in terms of plot and character and etc. It's kind of like the Mission Impossibles.
I do enjoy that every plot of a Mission Impossible film is the same.
Yeah,
but they all feel different because they're fun.
Yeah, well, this is Big Planes Go Whoosh, but the big planes go whoosh so well it's enjoyable to watch, and you can look past all of that. And I think the Mission Impossibles are like, you know, they just do a Mission Impossible so well that
the missions are never actually impossible.
The missions aren't impossible, and also not that important.
But quite often it's about ending the world, like nuclear and bombs and stuff.
I mean, important to you as a viewer.
Oh, no.
You know. Yeah. I think Tom Cruise movies stand out as I guess Tom Cruise and maybe Fast and Furious are the only movies that I'm going to see them, and the stunts and action sequences are enough that I am able to not care about all the other, you know, boring stuff that I'd like to bog this podcast down in.
Yeah.
Like, different to, say, Marvel. It's fun to, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange have to have a fight and whatever. But if it was just that in those movies, I wouldn't keep
going back
to them. Like, they're good, but if they were the whole thing, it wouldn't be enough. Whereas with these, it's the whole thing, and that is enough because they're better. It's better action than a Marvel.
In the Mission Impossible films.
Yeah, and I would say in this
it's pretty great
because it's not all, you know, green screen and they have to churn 3 out a year.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I enjoy the fact that it's Top Gun again, but it's different because they're back at school for Top Gun, but they're not doing school this time. They've all previously been to Top Gun school.
It's like it's Top Gun like senior year.
Yeah,
Top Gun college.
It's like, come back to school, everybody. This is where we all met each other and had a good time previously, and now we're back again because we couldn't do this anywhere else in the world because we all currently work doing this every day. Yeah,
and I think that was, you know, a smart idea in a way because it lets them be doing this more extreme mission because they're the best. Like, they're all Top Guns. Yeah. So, like,
they're all Top Gun graduates.
So who is the toppest gun?
Exactly. And what do you know?
And they're all tops. But I think that also what we lost in comparison to the first movie is the way in which it does feel like school in the first one. And they're sort of competing in that schoolish way. The way in which all of the student characters cohered in this movie was a little sort of
too quick.
Well, it just didn't flow as well for me. It's like, and now look, they're all turning up at the bar and they all kind of know each other.
I think it makes sense in that they've probably done this together before. They've all met each other at various places, so they already have that level of semi-friendship.
Yeah, but I think the fact that they've all been out and having their own careers and now they're back and doing this, it just diluted it a little bit from that really the way you get tunnel vision, the way you do at school or college, where like this thing is the whole world. None of these guys necessarily feel like that because this is one mission out of many that they're going to do, and they all kind of know that. And so I think it was fine, but I think that's how the relationships among, I guess, the student body, I think, lost a bit of the potency it has in the first one. But that's okay because where the real action is the teacher.
That is true.
The toppest gun.
He is the toppest gun and proves himself to be the toppest gun.
Yeah.
As
obviously.
part of the story.
I love that.
I like that they introduce...
I've decided who is the best of you.
It's me.
It's me.
They introduce the entire class, and then we get to speak and see 5 of them.
Yeah. I wonder who's going to go on the mission.
I wonder who's coming back.
Yeah. So Maverick flies that super stealth plane at the start, which looked really cool.
It did look really cool.
And he goes to Mach 10
That felt like a Buzz Lightyear movie.
Yeah.
Like they're working on this cool stealth plane. I'm like, that's a cool progression for him, because obviously he can't be a fighter pilot doing fighter pilot shit.
Who are you fighting?
In his fucking late 50s. So now he's a test pilot for the military, still working for these advanced, and I'm like, yeah, that is fucking cool. And then
What do you think about them just not showing him crash?
As in, like...
The way he just turns up at the bar.
I liked it.
It's cool, hey?
Yeah, I like that. We know that the plane crashed. He wasted however many billions of dollars.
Billions, mate.
Billions by saying the words, just a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then billions of dollars.
Just a little bit more. Doesn't that sum up what we're doing to the planet?
I love that scene of him walking into the diner.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Very good.
And the kid. Like that was just nice and awkward. That's a good film. That's good. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's a good scene.
Yeah, I think...
Also, that the visuals in that scene when he's flying that thing where it zooms out and you just get the smoke trails behind it and stuff. That was beautiful.
It was very good at showing how fast he was going by sort of showing him traveling across the earth. Like, I don't know how when he crashed he was still in America. Like, he must have U-turned at some point.
Maine.
Well,
from literal one corner to the other corner. Well, he does U-turn in that thing. He's going in a circle before he...
Yeah. I recently rewatched First Man.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I have not seen First Man. I know of it, and I know the story.
You've heard?
I'm quite familiar with the story of First Man.
I don't want to spoil the ending for you, but spoiler alert, they do go to the moon.
Ooh.
So, yeah, Ryan Gosling as Neil Armstrong, if anyone hasn't seen it. And what I think is really good about that movie is it tells you this, like, we all, like, on one level, we all know exactly what's going to fucking happen. But...
Is he going to die? Is he going to die?
First of all, it builds in the emotional journey of Neil Armstrong with some details about his life that I didn't know about. And then what it just really shows you is how fucking terrifying it would have been to be involved in any stage of that process. leaving aside the multiple people who literally die during it, and multiple times people keep saying, why are we actually doing this? And no one ever gives a very clear answer. They're like, I guess because of Russia. But the act of getting into any of those space shuttles and doing any of that is so psychologically traumatizing ultimately.
Well, it would be,
but also really physically taxing as well. It's not just like sitting in a chair and beep booping buttons. And so it really got that across the physicality and like all the sounds the machine is making and stuff. And so what it sort of helped you understand was, from our modern perspective, we're like, yeah, we went to the moon. But then when they're going to the moon, how unclear it is that this is going to work at all, and how much less certainty they had than you would want before just taking off into space and seeing if we make it back. I think they could have done even more of that here, but the things I liked about this was how much it puts you in the cockpit and communicating like the sound and the feel of flying the plane, and how it's a physical task as well. Make a big deal out of the G's. Film, and especially that one time when Tom Cruise like proves he can do it by flying the flight path. He's like out of breath and clanking back inside of the cockpit, and it's sort of an exhausting thing to do.
Which isn't really fair, because for all the other people trying, they've been talking to each other for the whole trip. Yeah. He's silent for the entire thing. Yeah, obviously you're holding you're breathing correctly. Like, you don't have to communicate to each. You're just on your own. Yeah.
Well, that if you're a big, strong, and capable man, Isaac, the thing that will hold you back is any reliance on anyone else or the need to communicate with them. If everyone just shuts up and lets you do your thing, that's how we will be safe from the unnamed enemy.
Yeah.
That's what you should take
away from it. Okay, cool.
But the first time I got that feeling of the physical feel of it was in that opening sequence where it's got that kind of unearthly sense, and it's so dark. The fact that it's so dark in there,
it's fucking cool.
It was good. It makes it very atmospheric.
It did.
Which is challenging because it's just plane go whoosh, and plane go more whoosh, and plane go even whooshier.
Yeah.
And like I said, and
plane like have flaps that transform it and turn it into a different kind of plane.
That would have been good. At the start, when they're like, we have to go Mach 10, and I said to you as a joke, they should just hit the NOS. He does hit the NOS. Turns out all the planes they somehow have a NOS if you do it right.
Push it a little harder than you are currently pushing it.
Yeah.
Or than you have ever pushed it before.
Does that work if you just put all your weight on that thing in the plane?
Have you ever accelerated more than you've ever accelerated before?
No.
Oh, okay.
Do you sometimes find a little extra lower
once
point?
You're on the floor, if you push through it,
okay.
and like if the rust from your older car just like breaks a little bit underneath your foot,
then
the speed you get from that, man. The speed you get slowing down because you're terrified because you've broken your accelerator
and you've lost your aerodynamics because now your foot is on the road.
So in this first flight, he's not supposed to have done this. The project has been shut down. All the funding is going to unmanned drones, and that is never mentioned again in the entire film. But all the funding...
Well, the rest of the film is a repudiation of that idea.
Ed Harris loves drones, and...
As he should.
...wants to shut down Top Gun and fighter pilots. So they do this flight illegally. They steal this $1 billion thing, technically, after being ordered not to do this. And it turns out it can go Mach 10. So he's technically saved the jobs of all of the people on the project.
Yeah, well, he's taken away Ed Harris's argument. Although I feel like if I was Ed Harris, I'd say our request was that you go Mach 10 and land.
You could say that.
Because a plane that can go Mach 10 and then blow up is, you haven't achieved nothing, but you haven't achieved something we can really use in a, in a dynamic, in a
but
kinetic
what if he'd slowed down
situation.
And started coming back to land and then it had blown up? I mean, that's just...
Yeah, but
that just means the plane's
have done.
fucking shit. If it goes faster than Mach 10 and then it blows up, it's not the plane's fault.
If they'd shown him making that decision, that would have been even cooler.
Well, he goes a little bit more and goes faster, then the plane fucks up.
Yeah, but I think if he'd known it was going to fuck up, so then he realised, if I go Mach 10.5 and then crash it, then we're sweet.
Then they can't blame the plane. They'll blame me and I'll lose my everything.
It'll be fine.
This is all I have.
I'll just eject from this plane. And if my life has taught me anything, it's that ejecting always works.
I also enjoy that he lives in an airplane hangar, working on an old Spitfire.
It looks amazing.
Or a Mustang, or whatever that thing is.
I want to have a sitting room next to a plane.
I'd like to live in an airplane hangar. There's so much space for activities.
His whole life is just men's Tumblr.
Yeah.
Just every...
There's about 8 motorcycles on a wall, 1 half-built plane, and 1 almost finished plane.
Like ironandwhiskey.tumblr.com is just going to be flooded with stills from this movie now.
And then he's got a photo of him and Goose... No, him and Iceman on the screenshot from the ending of the last film.
I love when movies have screenshots from the previous one as photos.
He's got that as a printed photo at his house because he loves it.
And boy, do we get to see that printed photo.
We're gonna get to that photo.
I think
several more times.
I think there's at least 4 long pan-in shots.
There are
of him and Iceman shaking hands. Like,
I wanted more. Once the third one came, I'm like, I need more of this.
Photos of him and Goose.
Yeah, he's got a wall dedicated to him and Goose and him and Iceman. And I mean, that's lovely. You mean you lost your friend 30 years ago. You've still got an exorbitant amount of photos that were taken at that time.
Yeah, has he made any new mates?
No.
He
has not made any new friends. So he lives in a warehouse on his own, fixing planes. He gets in he gets in his motorbike and leaves the warehouse open. And drives across the desert
motorbike width
to another warehouse that is also open the same width and drives through and parks right next to a multi-billion-dollar aircraft. There is no way in
Isaac
that he would be allowed.
Isaac.
No.
Isaac.
I'm not getting over this. He parks his motorbike basically underneath this big-ass plane.
Isaac. Iceman set it up.
Iceman didn't set that up. That's just him going to work.
First of all, he's a Maverick, so Maverick's going to Maverick, and Iceman has made a call. It's fine. Iceman is now head army boatman in my life. Oh yeah, it would be good. It would be good to know who to be friends with when you're early 20s.
Yeah,
that is going to become incredibly rich and powerful.
This person will succeed immensely, and then you can just ride those coattails. You make any mistake you fucking want, it won't matter. He'll bail you out.
Yeah, well then I guess
need a Val
you do kind of have to be in the same field as them.
Oh, okay.
You can't just have a very unless they're a lawyer. Then
or
they can
the president.
Yeah, true.
Like Kevin,
because the president is every field.
Kevin James in fucking Pixels.
Sure.
In the Pixels movie, Kevin James and Adam Sandler are best friends. But Kevin James became the president, and Adam Sandler just likes video games. And
hey, those are 2 valid personalities to have.
I love that movie. It's fun. It's so bad. It's fun.
Okay,
but yes, Top Gun.
So bad it's good.
We're watching Top Gun.
He pulls.
He gets called in for his hearing. With
but that's
Ed
before.
Harris.
Then he does Big Sexy Black Plane.
Does Big, yeah.
And then blows that up. then they're like, you did another Maverick. You were a Maverick yet again. Can't believe you got us.
We are very within our rights to fire you.
Yeah,
and you will be disgraced.
We could probably actually charge you criminally for what you've done. You crashed a massive plane in a civilian area. Should we acknowledge that? You're extremely lucky you didn't land on that bar. You scared a child.
And instead of all that, we received a phone call. So
and you know who that phone call was from? Iceman.
He just pulls out a business card that just says, "I'm friends with Iceman."
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Iceman's my mate. And they're like, who? Like, oh, you mean his actual name? I've actually forgotten it. Val Kilmer. They're like, you are going to go and teach at Top Gun, and then they.
Well, no, they just recall him to Top Gun.
Yeah.
They don't say he's an instructor, do they? At that point,
I think so.
Oh, okay.
And so then Top Gun is John Hamm is in charge.
Awesome choice.
Yeah.
And that is all we get to see of Ed Harris, by the way. Those first
amazing.
two bits, just that's it. And I thought that was cool because that's how the military works. You see one guy, never see him again. You're somewhere else in the world now.
Doesn't matter how famous that actor is. Yep. You only get one scene with them. Mm-hmm. One of the many similarities between this movie and Apocalypse Now.
Or 1917.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're all famous actors in one little bit, because obviously...
Yeah, this film really should not be compared to either of those movies.
Why not?
Both of those movies really highlight the deepest flaws that this movie has. And I think that's fair to say. So then Tom Cruise is hanging out in it's called Fighter Town, where Top Gun is.
It's Fighter Town, USA. It is the place, apparently.
Welcome back to Warville.
Fighter Town, USA.
Fighter Town.
It's like Nashville, but for planes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, is NASCAR in Nashville?
It's on the coast with ready access to the desert.
Yes, it's a coastal desert.
So somewhere
do they say it's Utah?
San Diego.
I thought someone says Utah at some point.
No, they're in San Diego.
I swear someone says Utah.
That'd be the first place. That'd be the Nevada place where he's testing for the first one.
Okay.
But they go to the beach.
It's in
Southern California. It's in San Diego.
You know what? If the entire country the enemy is in doesn't matter, it does not matter what state they're in.
It doesn't.
They're in Top Gun land.
Yes.
They're in Top Gun land, which, can I re-emphasize, doesn't exist anywhere in the real world or in the military. And this is Area 51.
So he's back there, and there is a pub.
He goes to the bar, and it's run by Jennifer Connelly,
who just happens to be his ex-girlfriend.
And that storyline, fine. I liked it. Perfectly well accomplished. Very sort of relaxed, and I like how there was just no conflict in it at all.
Yeah,
because it would have just detracted.
Yeah, it would have. And
this is not the romance between Tom Cruise and Jennifer Connelly. It's the romance between Tom Cruise and
planes.
And big sexy planes, but also Miles Teller.
Yes. So a sweaty Miles Teller.
Yeah. Well, you say that, but I really noticed how, in comparison to the first one, how dry everyone is in this movie.
Oh, it's because their clothes technology is...
They've all got...
The planes have air conditioning
They've all got Under Armour on, and the sweat-wicking technology means...
Yeah.
Because that first movie, it takes place in a world without air conditioning or fans.
You could think about it. You could think about it this way in that...
I don't want to think
in that Tom Cruise doesn't believe in global warming. So they're not sweaty now. The world is cooler, so they're not sweaty. Yes.
Yeah, true.
I don't know if Tom Cruise doesn't believe in global warming.
But it would not surprise me at all.
Actually, no, he strikes me as a person who would believe in global warming and believe he could stop it.
I think Tom Cruise would believe in global warming, believe that his church is doing it on purpose and that it's a good thing.
While he sleeps and astral projects himself every night.
They'd be like, look,
have these ghost conversations.
In the way you get a fever, and that's your body raising to a temperature to destroy some of the bacteria that are infecting you. This is like a fever the Earth is having to cook off all the thetans. So every degree
Anyone
we
worthy
rise,
will survive.
yeah, and the only people who will die from climate change will be people who were just chock full of thetans anyway. And then the Church of Scientology is probably building, temples and hotels on mountaintops around the world. And so they're like, whatever. They'll be the people on that boat at the end of 2012 with the Queen.
Did you like 2012? Because I did.
I did, actually.
Yeah. I want John Cusack to do more things, but he just does shitty things now.
But, as I get older, I find it harder to watch stuff like 2012.
When you realize how many
it's just
billions of people die.
Like the gruesomeness of it gets to me a lot more. Like it's not fun.
The third person gruesomeness. Like, you're not watching people die. You're just watching people die.
You just yeah.
Like, you're not emotionally, like, the film forces you to be emotionally detached from mass death.
Yeah. Like, I enjoyed
the day.
I mean, let's compare this to a great double act by Gerard Butler, where Geostorm,
great film,
like, notoriously terrible, and one of the it's bad on like multiple different metrics and different perspectives. And one of those things is it's depicting 2012 level events, but it's still all like time is company, and it's all upbeat and trying to be kind of funny about it. I'm like, no. This is terrible, and you guys have solved this problem so slowly that you're now like pretty responsible for all those deaths. But I did really like Greenland.
I loved Greenland,
which is same thing, but I didn't feel the same way watching that as I did watching something like 2012 because it's human level. It just watching one person navigate that process.
Yeah,
having a god's eye view of the end of the world just kind of makes me feel gross inside.
Yeah, when you get human stories and you actually get to at least touch on the horror of what is happening, the movie is... That's why I like Signs.
Signs, yeah. One of my favourite movies, coming back to Tom Cruise, War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds, it's just him.
Again, that's an apocalyptic genocidal event, but I don't get that gross feeling because it's not about the genocide, it's about Tom Cruise and his daughter. Whereas 2012, I guess actually, I don't know what I'm saying, because in 2012, a weird amount of time is taken up with conflict between John Cusack and his ex-wife's new partner, who totally gets minced towards the end of the movie. And you're like, yes. And like 20 minutes later, John Cusack and his ex-wife are just making out. And you're like, yeah, that guy did die. How annoyed would you be if the end of the world 2012 happened and your ex-wife's new partner survived? And you're now there on the boat with the 200 remaining humans, and one of them is your ex-wife and your children and your ex-wife's new partner. I think someone's going to fall overboard.
I'd be less annoyed if it was Aaron Eckhart, because he's kind of cool.
Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
In my head, it was like the evil reporter from Die Hard 2. And Die Hard, I guess.
Richard someone or
Richard
other.
Something.
Thornburg is his
Kimball?
name. Richard Thornburg is his name in the movies.
Yeah. Anyway. A movie set on that boat after the oceans destroyed everything.
That'd be cool. A horror film.
Yeah, if you want. But like a post-apocalypse.
I just want horror films. I like them. But back to Top Gun. The subject we're talking about
Back to the Toppest Gun. We're in that bar. It's Jennifer Connelly. Yeah, and she's mainly there, I think, as like she's kind of like a no homo character. That's kind of how I interpret her. Because it's like, well, why is this guy not with anyone and he's in his 50s? Like, it's okay. He's having sex all the time. Don't even worry about it. And now he's going to be with Jennifer Connelly, so it's fine.
I like the fact that their storyline sort of gives a gleam of hope that, yep, he can leave the military if he needs to. And
just fly around in that little plane at the end.
Fly around a little plane at the end.
Which is apparently Tom Cruise's actual plane. So that's him flying.
Which is fucking cool, because it's a pretty little plane.
It's a nice, yeah.
I like World War II era planes.
Yeah, I like them now. They're not, there's not the war.
Yes.
Yeah, during the war.
During the war, it would have been less fun to see them. Like,
You're like, oh no.
War. Oh.
That's me in World War II. Oh no. Oh.
I have to do another rubber drive. Got to get some more scrap metal and send it in. I'm doing my part.
Am I a child?
I don't know.
Why am I doing scrap metal? Is this a Just William story?
Are there any films just about that?
That's me. Am
There's a film called Doing Your Part.
I getting evacuated to the countryside?
You see nothing of the war. You just see these people doing their part.
Yeah, it's called Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Okay. They don't do their part, though.
No,
they
really
escape from doing their part.
They really bounce.
For 40 years. And then they come back, oh, wait, the war.
Oh, they would be so annoying that this war's still going. You come back out of the wardrobe, the house is just bombed to shit. Like, oh.
No, someone else is living in it. It's 40 years later. It's the mid-90s.
They walk out the cupboard into the middle of Antiques Roadshow. Anyway, Jennifer Connelly is fine. It's fine. They have a rule, and this did get brought up at the live podcast the other night, and I'm glad they mentioned it. The rule where if you put your phone on the bar or something, she rings a bell and you have to buy a round for the bar.
That is fucked up.
There's like 130 people in there.
Yeah, it's not just like a little bar. It's popular.
It would bankrupt you. Like there'd be so many people like, I can't. I'm sorry.
Unless, of course, like beer there is $1.
Well, it's cheap in America, but I mean, like phone on the bar. I'm sorry, that's happening 6-7 times a night. If somebody
sits at the bar to have a chat to the barman, which is like historically in film something that Americans do quite a lot.
That's why you go to the bar. 20% of the time, it's to strike up a conversation with the bar person,
to ask for information about whatever you're searching for information about at this point in time.
Someone
in your
who
life.
Used to come in but has gone missing recently.
Yeah. You go to the bar, you sit at the bar, you put your wallet and your phone down so you can have a conversation and they can see that you're not using your phone.
That's
you're
why
having
I put
this
it down.
conversation.
Yeah.
What a bitch. I like the first two rules. If you are condescending or like misogynistic or be mean to a lady or whatever, be creepy.
Well,
like
that's fine.
That's cool. That teaches people not to be creepy.
Yeah, but you're just going to get yourself into so many shitty situations with that.
Yeah.
Because where are we drawing the line? And if someone is being like that, if you ring a bell, they're not buying drinks for everyone because they're obviously a dick.
They're just leaving.
Like if someone's walking around making sexist comments, you're not going to like rehabilitate them by ringing a bell and getting them to buy everyone drinks. You're like, well, I guess women are equal.
I was wrong.
Anyway, it's a
Thanks
fun,
for
it's a
showing
fun
me
thing.
the error of my ways.
And
but also the fact that everyone in the bar has been to the bar before and therefore knows that that's what the bell means. Like everyone in the bar, as soon as she rings it, they're like, "Oh, this bar." It's like if you go to a restaurant that you've never been to before and a bell rings, you're like, "Okay, what does that mean?"
A meal's ready.
Someone's meal's ready. It might be someone's birthday. You're like, "Oh, they're gonna sing."
You hear a bell, you're like, "Okay, wedges," but you don't be like, "Yes, we will get another beer." Anyway, and I found this a bit strange where Tom Cruise has his scene with Jennifer Connelly, and then that scene ends, and then the camera like pans across to another part of the bar, and Tom Cruise just watches the next couple of scenes of the movie with us, like an audience member.
Supposed to think he can hear it.
No, I thought we were. I thought the whole point was this is him getting a bit of an idea of who the pilots are by watching them all interact. But it just felt so strange that was a previous scene, but he's still there, and now we're watching it with Tom Cruise. And all the pilots come in, and they're all like, "Oh, we're the best and everything. What's your call sign? What's your..." See, and they all have to introduce each other, so they can't know each other that well. I think the girl character,
I think a few of them know each other from being at Top Gun together.
She lists
or
off everyone's call
together
signs
previously. But I like that. I like the Bob joke. That his call sign is Bob. I think that is fucking fantastic.
That is funny.
That is really cool. Like they have a good vibe and a good rapport straight away, and I enjoy that they're all in uniform. Not Rooster.
Not Roosty, baby.
Not literally the same character that Goose was.
Not Goose 2. The final goosening.
Call him Goose 2. That's cool.
I mean, they've stuck with sort of foul.
A series of books I read. One of the characters is his call sign was Book because he liked to read. Apparently.
Oh God, that's imaginative.
And he dies, but then a couple of books later, his son's in the army. his name, Book 2. Just because he's the descendant of that first guy. And, like, that's kind of cool.
What would your call sign be?
I don't know. I'm not in the army. I think you have to earn
Navy,
one.
Please.
You have to earn a call sign, don't you?
Well, it's never established how any of them got it.
Well, Maverick obviously earned his.
By being such a bloody
By being a Maverick.
Maverick
and Goose was a goose. And Iceman was quite cold. So that's understandable.
Yeah. So yours could be...
and Phoenix, she probably, like, rose from...
Caught fire one time.
Yeah,
but then
and she,
okay.
like, stood up out of it. She's like, I'm
Ooh.
good.
But
and
then
Hangman...
But then her call
probably-
sign would be Khaleesi.
The Hangman guy's probably got a depressing backstory if that's how he got his call sign.
Yeah, he hung someone once.
A man.
Yeah. He's never hurt himself. He's the guy doing it. It's really fucked up.
We meet Goose, too, for the first time.
Yeah.
And he's got a mustache. He's
Yeah.
wearing the exact same shirt.
Yeah.
He plays Great Balls of Fire on a piano.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, he's already animositized towards Hangman.
It's weird because from Goose's perspective... Sorry, from Rooster's perspective... From Goose 2's perspective...
Goose 2.
Goose
That's
2's...
what Rooster stands for.
Goose
2.
Goose 2's already done Top Gun. So even though he's technically in the Top Gun area, they're not there to Top Gun each other. They're there to just do a new...
Yeah,
a new
they're just
mission.
working together.
Yeah. So he doesn't... So it's weird that he plays Great Balls of Fire because he doesn't know now that he's doing a Top Gun. It's weird that he knows, okay, now it's time to start replaying all the Top Gun scenes because I'm Goose 2. That's just coincidence. My theory is that's the only song he knows.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's the only song Goose would have known on the piano.
It's a good one.
It's a great song.
Although you need a lot of energy in the room to carry off Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah, if no one's joining in Great Balls of Fire...
If it's like a quiet, if it's a bar...
break out Great Balls of Fire and no one else joins in...
That's a vibe clash.
If no one's just carried Tom Cruise out and put him gently into the sand...
Yeah.
And allowed him to just look in through the window while you play the song that your dad played with him 30 years ago.
Yeah. And they make a point of that whole time Goose 2 hasn't seen him. So he's not even doing it for...
He doesn't even know
for
yet.
Mav's
He's just Goose 2.
He's just Goose 2ing around.
Yeah.
And they said this the other night, and they are right. Tom Cruise, he gets carried out of that bar in like such a dignified way. Like his core is engaged the whole time. Because I think you lose dignity when you're being carried because you sort of slump. But the first,
Not Tom
I think,
Cruise.
rule one of getting carried out with dignity: don't fight. As soon as you resist, then you're flapping around.
Mm-hmm.
Just take it, and then engage core so that you stay straight. Smile wryly, and because
also
if you relax the core and your pelvis goes down and then its arms and legs up, then you look like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah,
but
then you don't have the power in the scene anymore.
Tom Cruise gets carried out of there like a mannequin and dumped. And so he looks great.
It was cool.
And then it's revealed the next morning, he's the instructor.
He's the teacher of all of them. Oh my God.
And he Dead Poet Societies them with the big book.
Oh, I love that. That was so lame.
Throws the book in the bin.
This is the instruction novel. Straight, he's got a trash can right there prepared.
Like, this movie is amazing because if you and I watch Top Gun and then try to come up with the most obvious cliche sequel, it's everything we would have come up with. Like Maverick has to throw the instructions in the bin. Throw the rule book in the bin at some point, and he actually does it. But it's so in earnest, and it's Tom Cruise.
Oh, it's great.
It just carries it off. Mm-hmm. You're just like, yeah, I guess. We're doing this.
I like that you get a little shot of John Hamm like almost rolling his eyes when he does it. He's like,
get a load of this guy.
I guess we're doing that.
Yeah, can I just say, if I was in any sort of educational environment and the teacher did that, it would curry very little favour with me. I'm like, get a fucking load of this guy.
Like I've seen, I think it might have been sketches or something where they've bought the textbook and then the teacher throws the textbook in the bin. I'm like, well, no, you spent way too much money on this fucking textbook you told us to get.
Yeah. Yeah. This was $150.
Forget everything you think you know. Okay.
Yeah. But I do like it. Like, I don't want to hear. He's kind of like, I don't want to hear no chat about numbers. This is not going to be. We're not going to be talking about specs or anything. That's all in the past. This is just about emotion and gut feeling. and not thinking about anything, which is very much the attitude.
Yeah, if you think up there, you die.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's true.
No,
I think
thinking.
if you stop thinking in general, you die.
Well, actually, I think if you stop thinking, then you actually achieve enlightenment. But then also, there's a reason why people
Brain death.
Well, that's another version of it. But there's a reason why people who are enlightened don't be fighter pilots or start wars generally. Yeah, that was my favorite bit from the podcast the other night. Once again, cruising through reviews and check it out. Where he's like, this whole movie is like no thoughts, just vibes, which is perfectly sums it up.
Very, very true.
It's no thoughts, just vibes. This movie is like, doesn't matter who the enemy is, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're just here to vibe about Top Gun.
About planes that go whoosh.
We're just here to riff on the idea that Big Plane Goes Whoosh. And it is great. So yeah, don't think about anything as the main message of the movie, which is very much the sort of attitude that military recruiters hope you adopt. Now
it goes through several days of them attempting to fly this valley, and they all suck. Well, the best fighter pilots ever. The first training.
It's just him shooting them.
Yeah.
It's just dogfighting.
Him proving to all of them that they fucking suck and he's better.
And then they make a big deal about the hard deck and like don't fly below 5,000 meters because we've done because we've done an environmental impact statement. There's lots of endangered bushes down there and your exhaust could damage them, and there's lots of endangered rodents and things in this wasteland, and so we're not allowed to go down there. They'll tear us to shreds.
That is the gist. Also, it's unsafe to fly that close to the mountains.
Yeah.
So don't go below 5,000 feet.
I guess.
And then
Tom Cruise is like, we are going to fly. We're going to basically drive along the ground. We're going to put the wheels of the plane down
just in case.
We're going to put big four wheel drive wheels on the plane and just rumble down the valley. Him and Goose 2 continue to tensions rise in exactly the way they would rise in like a screenplay writing class, and I think it's funny that they killed Meg Ryan.
I know.
Because there's no way Meg Ryan was coming back.
Being invited back.
Absolutely not. And it's interesting that she is Meg Ryan, because she wasn't Meg Ryan when she was in Top Gun. It was like her first movie.
Was Meg Ryan.
No, she wasn't. Not in the eyes of the world.
But if that's her actual name, if she didn't Tom Cruise it and pick a name.
If you actually look at the credits of Top Gun, it says
unknown actress.
It says Meg Ryan's role as the character name, and then next to that it just says we didn't actually check.
Goose's wife.
Goose's wife, played by still don't know actually. Sorry.
I think her name is actually Meg Ryan. Because Tom Cruise's name is not Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah, sure.
He has a different surname.
I'm not saying.
But Meg Ryan is a pretty cool film actress name.
Yeah, it's cool when people have filmy names, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fucking Leonardo DiCaprio.
I know.
Get the hell out of here.
That's a fucking actor name. If he did something else, what a waste.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my orthodontist, Leonardo DiCaprio. What? Leonardo DiCaprio, timber flooring.
It would just be so lame.
No.
He had to do...
Leo's Patisserie. What's your last name? DiCaprio. And he's just there in a little chef's hat, overweight, because he never achieved anything that he wanted to achieve. It's a great patisserie, it just wasn't his dream.
Still dating supermodels for some reason.
He's still...
Like, it makes no sense, because he's still dating
They can tell. That's the sixth sense a supermodel has. They can tell.
Like, hey, you would have done
who
this.
Has that? Who has that rich
energy?
Earth
616.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have a day where he shows them that he's a better fighter pilot than them, and everyone has to do 200 push-ups. And it starts off with the hangman dude being a dickhead and making a bet with Maverick. Like, I bet you we shoot you. I bet you it's fine. I bet you 200 push-ups. And Maverick's like, yeah, sure. And then Goose gets shot down. So Goose does the push-ups. He didn't make this bet, but he does the push-ups. And then the only female fighter pilot says...
I named her earlier as the girl character.
Says, see, that shows you something about Goose 2. He actually does the push-ups while Hangman's just chilling. And then for the rest of the day, everybody does the push-ups. Like,
Yeah,
so
but
it's
that's
not
'cause
something about Goose 2.
Goose 2 set the example.
Okay.
Everyone
He does it
else
twice
fell
as
in
well.
line. Yeah.
Yeah, and he, even though
200
old mate
push-ups.
says you don't have to do anymore, it's okay. He keeps doing them.
Yeah.
Because he made a bet, and he's a gambling man, and a Lannister always pays his debts.
And so Goose 2's thing is that he's thinking too much, and he's not.
He's hesitant.
Do you understand the roles in the plane? Because Goose 1 was kind of what Bob is now. So he's not the pilot.
No.
They're doing
the
other machiney
flight
type
instruments and
they're kind of the guy in the chair.
yeah.
But they're right up there.
What could be called the gunner, but he doesn't actually do the shooting. He does the aiming.
Right. Because I mean I have no idea, but it surprises me that in 2022 that person still has to be in the plane.
See, he doesn't though. Because
I feel like that person should be the guy in the chair.
Tom Cruise's plane and in Goose 2's plane, there's no guy in the chair.
Yeah.
Some of the planes have a second seat in them, and some of them don't, but they're all the same plane.
Like, why does the girl one need to have a guy in the chair behind
Because she
her?
needs to have Bob. She needs to have a guy because she's the only female fighter pilot.
Yeah,
so
see, that doesn't play well.
You need to put a guy in that one.
Just to make sure nothing... in case they have to reverse. Oh, I'm sorry. I take it back. I don't mean it. I take it back. I thought of it.
The minority characters, they need to be together
The
too.
two racial minority characters get their own plane.
Because obviously they couldn't have their own planes each.
No.
There's no budget for that.
There's no...
They've got to share a plane.
Yeah. Look, you could all have your own plane, but Maverick has crashed so many fucking planes. Yeah, so did you think someone was going to die during the practicing? It'd be funny if Goose 2 just died. The exact same way.
Well, when Payback, weird call sign, but cool. It sounds like you wouldn't want to be friends with him. Because if he just gets payback for everything, I'm like, okay.
Well, just don't mess with him. You know?
I guess, because he'll get payback. Or maybe he just really likes the Mel Gibson movie Payback.
Maybe. And he loves it so much.
He's dedicated his career to the Mel Gibson movie Payback.
Like your call sign could be Casino Royale.
When the Payback character loses consciousness and starts to fall out of the sky, part of me is like, no, you can't do the first time it happens. Because he was the first person to lose consciousness. You're like, yeah, you can't kill him first.
Yeah.
That would be wrong. But I'm like, but they could do that just to kill someone straight away. Like, training is dangerous.
See, I would have, but that would have pissed me off quite a lot because like it's already terrible that Goose 1 died and they're just training.
If somebody dies during the training, it becomes the same fucking film.
Can I just reiterate that in Top Gun 1, in Top 1, which is Tom Cruise's call sign in real life online, the Goose 1 his death is completely Maverick's fault. Maverick is just like pushing things too hard because he wants to win at the army game they're playing. For nothing else good will come of this other than we will win the army game and we can be like, hey, we're good at armies.
We'll be the Top Gun.
And then we'll be the Top Gun. That's the only thing at stake, and he does it so much they have to eject and Goose 1 dies.
Yeah.
And
so it's his fault that they have to eject.
And like in that first movie, at least Maverick does have internal conflict. In the second one, he has external relationship conflict, I guess, with Goose 2. Like he's not sure what to do. But it's not because he's not doubting himself. He's just not sure what to do about an external situation. Everything he's done in his life has paid off, and his life is still fucking sick and bitching. In that first one, he has internal conflict, and the whole journey of the movie is everyone convincing him, no, it's okay you cause the death of your best friend while pretending to do war, because it's important that we try as hard as we can to pretend to do war as best we can for when we do actually have to do war. And then we will do something amazing like prevent a nuclear apocalypse or something. That's like, and the whole time I'm like, no. No. The thing is, maybe we shouldn't have been trying so hard to pretend to do war. Because then Goose 1 died. Yeah. We need to have a little think about that. Like, yeah, you should feel kind of bad, but your values should change. You shouldn't still be just mavericking as hard as you fucking can for the next 35 years. Although I guess nothing else bad has ever happened to him based on the text of this movie.
I think he's just had several failed relationships, which were more than likely his fault.
But that's fine. He's just out there with beautiful women. Yeah, but he doesn't want to be.
I like to read into that, though, that he's convinced himself he doesn't want to be promoted. He's like, I never wanted to. I'm where I need to be.
Yeah, no,
like he goes home every night fucking depressed as shit.
No,
like
he doesn't
wanting to be respected in his field.
But at the beginning, they're like, someone like you should be a congressman or something by now. You're not getting Maverick doesn't want to do any of that stuff. I did like still a captain, highly decorated captain. Great, it's a good script.
It is a good.
It is a good script.
Yeah,
it's very smooth for the most part, especially the insanity of what it is they're trying to make us swallow.
So they go to school for a while, then they do these trial runs of the mission. No one's really good at it.
No, because it's impossible.
Because they're not getting along, and
they've got to be a team.
So they go play football in the sunset. So it's not volleyball, so it's a little less gay.
And this whole movie, much less gay, it must be said.
It is much less gay.
That first movie, it's quite...
That first movie... It's
distracting.
Dudes' faces are very close to each other whilst shirtless and sweaty.
Well, and just the most precariously placed tiny white towels.
Yeah, I know.
In all these locker room scenes, everyone's just absolutely glistening. And it's like,
they've literally come in from a room where they were naked together.
Just make out, please.
And they come in here to have their tete-a-tete.
I think that's... Yeah, no, I think that's why I couldn't really enjoy watching Top Gun, because there's so much sexual tension that never gets released the whole time. I guess it's kind of meant to be released with the giant phallic objects going whoosh at the end. It's kind of representing the intercourse they all wish they could be having. Meant to be but I never got to feel... I didn't feel that as a viewer.
Dissuaded from that by the fact that he has weird silhouetted make-out sesh with a woman who he shouldn't have.
Yeah,
for too long.
Well, he just has another no homo relationship where there's lots. The
Jennifer Connelly relationship is exponentially better.
Well, yeah, this
than the relationship in the other one.
This relationship just feels like a normal kind of. There's no tension to it at all.
And there shouldn't be. It's a relation. That's love.
Yeah, but they're meant for each other. That's why. It's kind of, it wasn't hard to watch because they're good actors and it's well written, etc. But also, it plays no role in the film other than reassuring people this guy isn't gay.
Yeah,
which is very necessary given the main target audience of this movie.
Because they're none of them are allowed to be gay.
I think because Tom Cruise isn't an idiot and he knows what people are going to make fun of him about. And if he's just a single guy living in an airplane hangar in his 50s. You know what the memes are going to be. So he's like, no, I'm going to be with Jennifer Connelly. Thank you.
This gorgeous Jennifer Connelly.
And we both thought the same thing. When he's jumping out the window, he throws his jacket. But on that shot, first just his jacket comes into frame and you think it's just him. And so for a second, I thought it was just him falling an incredibly large distance because you didn't realize what scale you were looking at, but it's just his jacket floating.
So cool.
Yeah, and that's how... Oh no, I broke both my hands. Now I'm going to have to Doctor Strange myself.
When they had the sci-fi plane at the start of the film...
Yeah.
And it was made clear that he's not allowed to fly the mission. He's got to choose the people who fly the mission. But then that's the conflict in that he doesn't want to send them to their deaths. I assumed he'd steal one of the prototype planes to come in and rescue everybody at the end.
No, that would have been pretty good.
Because obviously their planes that they're flying are not as good as the 5th gen planes that the bad guys have.
Yeah, why do how do these bad guys have exponentially better planes than the United States?
Because they got 5th gen.
That means the only people that could conceivably be is China.
Yeah, 5th gen.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they got them 5th gen planes.
5th, yeah.
5th gen planes.
Yeah.
Their planes are 5th gen.
I love when 2 words just covers a massive chasm of
it's the quantum
exposition.
The quantum realms.
Quantum realm. It's quantum realm.
It's quantum.
But how it's quantum?
It's quantum science.
Don't worry about it. It's just some. It's like it's.
You wouldn't understand it. It's
It's a multiverse thing. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
5th gen.
It's just 5th gen. It's just 5th gen.
Mark 45. Yeah. My arc reactor does it.
Yeah, it's just
Every plane has an arc reactor.
5th gen.
5th gen.
Anytime anyone asks any sort of clarifying question, is it 5th gen?
5th gen.
What do you?
I think we can. I think as an audience, we're forgiven for liking that sort of shit. As soon as Fast and Furious went to space,
we're forgiven for liking it.
I think we're allowed to like everything we like when they use 5th gen to just explain something, or quantum to explain something without explaining it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fast and the Furious went to fucking space.
They did.
Nothing matters anymore.
And they survived.
Yeah. Nothing matters. They've been to space.
Nothing does
Those
matter,
car
does
thieves
Car
went to
thieves.
space.
But you say that, but they went in a car, so it all hangs together.
Yeah. That they'd welded together.
Yeah.
With what's his face from the third one.
Yeah, and then they just like duct taped themselves, and they went to space, and then they had to like get onto the space station. They had to find the international ISS.
Great films. But Top Gun, we're talking about Top Gun and how great it is.
So, yeah, and then they're like, who do you want to be your team? And he's like, the 5 characters, please. And
oh no,
the other 5 people.
What happens? They play football, and then
they play sexy football.
They play sexy football. A lot of them are wearing jeans.
Yes,
rolled up jeans.
They're wearing rolled up jeans and
playing sexy wet football. It's a lot more silhouetted than the volleyball match was.
But like even the football match, football much less.
Oh no, they're playing both footballs at the same time. Yeah, they're playing 2 football where they were playing offense and defense at the same time. Right. So basically no one was playing defense. Yeah. They were just running and getting touchdowns. Like that's how it was working.
And they weren't keeping score or anything. Yeah.
All shirtless.
Why is this so less gay? Like
because it was more silhouetted.
Volleyball is gayer. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, they're playing volleyball in like the middle of the day, aren't they?
Yeah, and we got to see them be sweaty and almost touch each other and not get to. You know, there was that.
Yeah, in a way, because they hit each other more in football, it's more sort of. But in volleyball, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then Tom Cruise like falls on the ground like, oh.
Yeah.
With his
Yeah. And the whole rest of the time, there's no locker room scenes. Everyone's much drier.
Yeah.
Shirts stay on for the most part.
Well,
and
it's
to be honest, I
think possibly because they have one female character now.
Yeah,
you can't do a locker room scene.
She ruins it.
It's inappropriate. She's got her own locker room on her own. That's how the military still works, right? She can't use their locker room.
Yeah, no, there's another locker room, the exact same size with just her in it.
That'd be so great.
Just
they're all getting in fights and shit, and she's just like peacefully just getting changed.
Well, I imagine just sort of like sadly getting changed, just like lonely. Like whistling, echoing around this cavernous women's locker room they made with no one else using. Someone comes in with a magazine. Oh, there's normally anyone in here. No,
yeah,
I just arrived.
Just
I'm doing Top Gun 2, the toppest gun,
the toppening, the gunning.
Ah, okay.
None of these.
That dilutes it, I guess.
But yeah, so they play volleyball, and then for some reason,
would it have been? I'm not past it yet. Would it have been better if it was gayer?
No.
I guess, maybe not.
No, I think that scene is a better scene than the.
I don't mean that. I mean the whole film.
No.
Okay.
I think this film
that's a bit homophobic of you, Isaac.
I think
but
this film improves
that's disappointing.
by being a little less gay.
In the first one, it's like
because now it's ambiguous, and you get that mystery. In the first one, it's like, yep, they all want to do it, but they're not allowed to because of society.
They're never going to. And to be honest, it kind of, for me, it took away from the Big Planes Go Whoosh. Here, I guess we do get to just focus on Big Plane Go Whoosh.
Yeah. We get to know that several people are definitely
and that's
gay.
good because the planes go whooshier than last time.
They do go so much more whooshier.
And I haven't looked into all the making of stuff, but they keep saying how they were really in the planes and they really fly in the planes, and the actors had to do their own little Top Gun school before they could even film it.
I mean,
and
that's kind of cool.
Reapplying their makeup in the plane and stuff. If you do a
war film, though, you'd want to go to a boot camp.
You always do boot camp, yeah.
Like Platoon, those guys got to go on a sick boot camp.
Yeah. And I would have liked it if one of the actors had tragically died during the Top Gun boot camp. Oh. And then the making of documentary about this film becomes better than both Top Gun 1 and Top Gun 2.
And it's called Top Gun 3. It's just the sequel to this film. It's the making of the second film.
It's called Last Gun. Oh. And it's about the tragic death.
No, Top Gun, Last Blood.
Yeah. Anyway...
It would have been great if one of the actors had tragically died on set.
It would have been great for art. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, jeez.
And that is the highest good. So, yeah, they make a big deal out of G-Force, which is good.
Yep.
And how you can
I also like that you are physically shown them all suffering from G's and stuff. Like their faces melt quite often.
And I was saying they need... this probably would just kill you, but they need like a Pulp Fiction needle to hit themselves with when they hit maximum G-force, and then they just like hulk out and fly out of the canyon. To be able to do that,
you'd have to be able to lift your hand, but your hand is on an instrument holding it tight. So
is there a technological solution to that?
By having the needle installed in the plane somewhere where
above your heart,
where you get to a certain amount of G's and it is just compressed into your body by the gravity.
Self-administering. Hey.
Or remotely. If somebody
we keep trying to come up with a small business idea.
If your man in the chair just gets to watch and see, oh, yep, he's unconscious.
Activate Uma Thurman device. What's happened? He immediately died?
At some point, Maverick gets kicked out.
Then it's mission time.
And it gets to mission time.
This is all in 3 weeks because the military
Maverick is removed from the system and he's not allowed to do it, so he steals a plane, and then for some reason that plane is connected to the screen in the classroom, and then they all watch him successfully do what they try to be trained to do, and they're like, oh wait, he's a better pilot than all of us, and so he is chosen to be the leader, and he gets to pick his team, and he chooses the characters.
Yeah, well, like it isn't. Yeah, and yeah, I like the idea of he comes in the super sexy plane at the end to save them, because it is kind of insane that he gets to do it, because once he'd flown that, 30 seconds faster than any of them had ever done it, I was like, well, let's just send him. Like, why are we doing all this training? Yeah. We've got a guy who can do it. And then they realize that. Even John Hamm is like, okay, I think let's just send Tom Cruise. It's fine. It's Gen 5. Just send Tom Cruise.
I have enough as evidence to
Tom Cruise is Gen 5.
Send you away for a long time, but instead,
I'm going to send you
to your death. Your likeful death.
Yeah.
I saw like that. For some reason, it goes from 2.5 minutes for them to be able to get out safely, and just bam, 4 minutes. I'm like, yep, you're all definitely going to die.
Yeah, I like that.
John Hamm just agrees that these people are going to die
for
the greater
just
good.
Turns it into a suicide mission. Yeah, that was good. That was good. That was good storytelling.
Also, as soon as they successfully do the mission at the end, immediately they are almost killed. Like, so fast.
Yeah.
It is horrific.
Yeah, so we finally get to the final fucking mission, and it's good.
It is cool.
This is where I think part of the simplicity of this film really worked. It was like, this whole movie has been about this one thing. Mm-hmm. We know what they need to do in great detail.
We, the audience.
It's not like 20 minutes before the end, they're like, oh no, there's a mission, quick, and they have to go and do it. It's like, no, this is the thing. So it's just been building and building and building and building and building. So that was good. The movie that this movie made me think of a lot was actually Force Awakens. Because it's, in a way, it's just...
Because it ends on a snow planet?
Well, it ends on a snow planet. It's first movie, but again. And they basically have to fly in and, like, hit the air conditioning vent or whatever it is.
Yeah.
When Goose 2 is nearly there, his man in the chair fucks up. And so Goose 2 has to basically just use the Force to hit the air conditioning vent on the Death Star. And then they get out of there. So I think this works in a lot of the same ways The Force Awakens works, when you could say it's a lazy retread, but it is a retread, but it's not lazy.
Yeah.
It's a retread of the same beats, but they're actually all like putting a lot of effort and filmmaking skill into it.
They do.
And so you're like, okay,
pretty good.
I'm going to watch it.
So they successfully complete the mission.
They do. Goose 2 finally hits the NOS because he's been too scared to hit the NOS the whole time.
He's been too reluctant to goose it,
Yeah.
Yeah. So they complete
to
the
seem
mission.
Like
they blow
a bit
up
of a
this
cock.
Little door in the ground.
Okay, let that one go.
I heard it, but I don't want to talk about cocks because we've been talking about
Gay shit?
Gay shit for a while. I think we can move on from that.
Well, you know.
Gay shit. This is like 2007.
It's not bad shit. It's just like if you're talking about Top Gun, undeniably you're talking about some gay shit.
They successfully completed the mission.
No judgment there.
Immediately after successfully
Immediately.
completing, the rockets that are fired at them are so much more scary than any other jet rocket I've ever seen in a film.
Yeah, this is all really good. They're setting off their flares to take out, to accept them.
Airplanes being hunted by rockets in movies. They're quite a distance away. You get ages of time before they have to react. In this film, it's so fast. Like straight away, yep, do this. Like they're all problem solving, and it's like it's very intense to watch, which I thought was so cool. Like that's what dogfighting would be like now.
Yeah, it's
running away from jets.
It's almost like nothing to say about it. That's all really, really good.
And then
Mav saves Goose 2 by flying over him to flare. So then Mav gets hit and disappears. And the
rest of them are ordered to retreat back to the boat because they've made it out alive. Saved.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. Like John Hamm, he isn't turned into like a demon. You can see he's there being like, oh, should they? He's like, no, they just all need to survive.
Yeah, he's practical. Yes, he's
like, no, he's one guy. If you go back, you'll almost definitely die.
Yeah, they're in a jet. What are they going to do?
Like he was willing to turn it into a suicide mission before, but now that they've all made it out, he is prioritizing getting them all back.
Exactly.
So I kind of like there was a surprising amount of nuance in the way some of these characters were drawn. Even though like structurally the story is very basic, in the way they're sort of performed and written and depicted, you know, there was enough there to satisfy you, you know, as an adult watching the film.
So Tom Cruise gets shot down.
And he's only bloody alive.
And he's perfectly fine.
And then a very big, very scary helicopter gunship is like 6 feet.
Cool.
Like instead of someone walking up to him and shooting him with a gun, it's a helicopter gunship.
Yeah.
Like,
he hides behind a log.
But then Goose 2...
And then Goose 2 blows up the helicopter.
Saves him, but then he crashes as well.
Oh, so cool.
And then we get Tom Cruise running.
Oh, we get to see Tom Cruise run.
Now, it's not really Tom Cruise running because he's laden down by his outfit and gear.
But it's Tom Cruise running, with a struggle.
I would have liked Tom Cruise to...
he's not just wearing a leather jacket this time.
Strip off his fighter jacket as he runs down to just white t-shirt in order to allow full Tom Cruise run even though he's in the snow.
I liked it. I thought it was cool. And he gets such a long distance in no amount of time at all.
Yeah. And it just pushes Goose 2 over. Like, what were you thinking? You told me not to think. This movie's really funny.
It is really
as well.
Funny.
And funny on purpose.
Don't give me that look. That's another thing I want to quickly mention.
Don't give me that look. That's the only look I got.
Don't give me that look. And that happens about 5 times. He goes, it's the only look I got. Which I think is a cool joke to just put in. I liked it. And like different characters saying it to him. Sort
of thing a cool dad might say. Which is kind of a dad joke, but it's not, doesn't hurt to hear it. Yeah. Yeah.
But
it's that classic repeated line that can like mean something a little bit different each time it's used. So yeah.
So they have their little moment of disagreement and then they fucking on foot live out the entirety of Owen Wilson's movie Behind Enemy Lines in the space of 4 minutes.
Lone Survivor. The suggestion that they are walking distance from that runway it would be multiple days hike. I was like, oh, they're both going to freeze to death. Oh, they're both definitely going to freeze to death in this wilderness.
Got Tom Cruise running.
No. They both activate Tom Cruise Naruto run. They both activate fast travel to the bombed out runway. And I like that. It's a cool idea.
It was great. The amount of smoke that was everywhere. Like,
take off on bombed runway.
Walk in, steal a plane.
And I like how they just do a little run to get into the... He doesn't Tom Cruise run because that would draw attention. They're like, just do little run. And the way this is all just so funny... You know, which is
something you weren't expecting to get out of the film.
Which is kind of the only way to play it because what's happening is ridiculous and they can't show any enemy soldiers. So
I also enjoy that Tom Cruise knows how to start the plane and get everything ready. Like, he
like-
knows everybody
yeah.
else's jobs.
He puts
that
that
he would
little
never
bit
have
of
done.
detail in, like, okay, we do have to fuel it up. You have to disconnect these things. Okay, let's go.
I like that. Also, when he says, as soon as I'm in, take out the ladder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, but how's he going to get in? He just assumes that Miles Teller can reach.
You're a tall guy.
But Tom Cruise obviously can't reach.
Tom Cruise.
Another thing
Maverick
about this film
knows
that I
his-
love is that they didn't make Tom Cruise taller than Tom Cruise is.
He's very,
Or didn't try to like hide that in any shots at all.
Well, I'm pretty sure
Miles Teller is clearly at least a foot taller than him for the entire film.
Yeah, but in my mind, Goose is tall. Goose 1 is
Goose
taller.
was
than-
definitely taller than
So
Tom
it's okay
Cruise.
for Goose 2 to be
But
taller
you
as
expect
well.
films now with Tom Cruise being the lead. Tom Cruise is the imposing character.
Yeah.
But I loved it because he never felt like he was.
Tom Cruise doesn't need to be tall to be
Exactly,
imposing. No one
exactly.
does. He's a short king, and that's fine.
And I think I'm hoping that he is embracing that, and instead of shooting things where he's Jack Reacher, he'll just be Tom Cruise now,
Yeah.
which is where he needs to be.
I would like him to do some movies now as just being Tom Cruise now. I want to see his unbearable weight of massive talent. Where he
I want to
just
see that actually.
he just like runs, does the Tom Cruise run between different rooms in his house? and stuff like that.
That's why he's got a big house. He uses the furthest extremities of this big house for everything he needs, so he can run between them.
He's watching TV, but just Tom Cruise running on a
He
treadmill.
leaves
in
the
front of it.
bathroom as late as physically possible every time, so he has to run to get there.
That's how he stays so in shape. And goddamn is he in shape as
is
well.
very in
Can't take that away from him. There's like one Mission Impossible movie where I don't think he ever takes his shirt off. And I thought, okay, in this one, he's just been chilling out a bit more.
Doesn't shake his shirt off in the first one.
Okay, well, not in our collective memory. And that's what counts. I'm just going to Mandela effect myself into that he did. And
In the first one, he's on that bullet train with terrible hair. And I'm like, that's cool.
how good does
He
Bullet
doesn't
Train
look cool. A bullet train looks so much fun.
Oh,
I want to see the hell out of
Brad
that
Pitt in
film.
those fun little shoes.
I know. Brad Pitt doing cool stuff now.
Who do you think is the most handsome man in the world?
I don't know.
If you had to pick. Because I think it might be Brad Pitt.
It's-
For me.
It's probably Brad Pitt would be close to it. He's a very attractive man.
It's got his, like,
He's aging very gracefully.
he's, yeah.
Like Hugh Jackman is aging quite gracefully.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman's pretty good as well. Like, I feel like whoever you bring into the mix, Brad Pitt's not getting out of the top 3.
No, Brad Pitt's teeth are in the right line. So
It's definitely
Tom Cruise
number
is
one
not,
teeth.
Not there. I feel as though Ryan Reynolds has a strange shaped head.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. No, I mean, lovely guy.
Love the guy.
Love the guy, but
Cool head though.
he's not beating Brad Pitt
got-
for just like
got a
raw,
cranium.
for like raw power of handsomeness, you know? Kind of handsomeness where you're going to... Don't Google it.
I want to Google to see what the internet.
I don't
thinks,
want
'cause
the-
if Google
I don't
says
want-
Brad Pitt.
Isaac,
I'm going to be upset.
I want what you think. I don't care what the internet
Pitt.
says. Okay, great.
It'd have to be.
So we have a podcast consensus. Excellent.
think so.
Good. That's all I was... Look, it didn't
Googling
have to
it
be a
now.
debate. I was just asking.
We don't want the answer.
Okay, good. Is it Ryan
Paul
Gosling?
Rudd was in the list though, and I agree.
Yeah.
He is a handsome man.
Strangely.
He's come into it.
Yeah, I think it goes Brad Pitt, Jason Segel.
I love Jason Segel. I
I
want him in a Top Gun movie. You know how Owen
Idris Elba.
Wilson got to do Behind Enemy Lines and do an action war film, which
Yeah.
was actually quite heartfelt and really good.
He's a good actor.
I'd love to see like other actors do that sort of thing.
Like comedy actors.
Comedy actors do just left field things, like Robin Williams always being a horrifically terrifying guy in various thrillers
Yeah.
is awesome. Will Ferrell and that sort of thing. Like, no, you're Will Ferrell. This doesn't make sense.
What we're saying is we need more Robin Williamses,
We do. Jack Black's.
which is always... Yeah. You know who I want in Behind Enemy Lines? Seth Rogen.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Kind of like a la Chris Pratt in
And
Zero
he's not
Dark
allowed
30.
to laugh at all. You can't do that.
No, he does, and that's what gives them away, and the enemy finds them and just obliterates them all. So I was looking out for this. When they get into this plane, all the controls are labelled in English. Riddle me that. What does that tell us about what's going on?
It means that the enemy is Canada.
Yeah. Actually, I think we've narrowed it down.
It's Canada.
It's snow, it's near water, and it's English labeling. Maybe this is Earth 617 or whatever, where Russia got Canada. You know?
The enemy is Alaska.
The enemy is Alaska. Yeah.
It's a paramilitary organization.
It's just
in
so
Alaska.
absurd. They don't know the enemy. It's like tomorrow when the war began.
Yeah. But that was clearly Korea.
Indonesia.
It's Indonesia in the books, isn't it?
Well, that's the only country that could do that.
Yeah.
I guess China, but Indonesia. No one realizes Indonesia is so big because it's like 1,000 islands, but its population is like 200 million. Has one of the biggest militaries.
200 million?
Yeah.
Jesus.
We think it's just like Bali, but there's like 1 million Balis, and you add them all together, and it's one of the biggest countries in the world.
The fuck?
Yeah. That's what we'll say. When the balloon does go up, as they say. Now, then they escape.
Then they escape. They are saved by Hangman.
The baddies chase them with their blacked out visors. They were cool. And this was the coolest plane move of the whole thing. I like how these are like the enemy. They're not just good planes. They're obviously like better pilots as well. And they're like, they've got him. And do you know what I mean when I say the plane?
Dude just
like belly flops past them. The plane like flips in a way I don't even know how to describe it, and like comes back past them, like traveling horizontally but flat on to them, and just flips out of their. Wow,
very cool.
That was good.
Which was cool. I also enjoyed that you get that scene where you get to see Maverick be a better pilot than the other guys, and like with less weaponry and less good plane.
Yeah,
he gets to defeat two
less good plane,
two
better
dudes
planes.
in 5th gen fighters.
5th gen, yeah.
And then there's a third one, and they've got nothing left. And then they're saved by Hangman.
Yeah, and they can't eject.
I like the can't eject bit. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And it's nice that Hangman gets that little bit of redemption at the end, but it's not redemption. It's like he's been a terrible person this whole time and never learned any lesson and never has to. He just doesn't.
No, why would you need to? You're a fighter pilot.
I guess his comeuppance is he doesn't get to go on the mission, but he's definitely going to get on other ones. And then he gets another sick air-to-air kill, and everyone goes back and high fives. So, I mean, it's not the biggest deal, but I just thought that was interesting. Did you think anyone was going to die on the mission? I really thought at least one of the planes was going down.
I did too.
And when I did the math, I was like, oh, they can't kill the only woman. So that's why I was like, oh no. But then I was like, oh no, they either have to kill the only woman or the two ethnic minorities that are in the same plane.
Yeah, well, when Tom Cruise got shot down, I'm like, that's actually a quite smart choice to do. Like, it wasn't built, like, as soon as he got shot down at that point, I'm like, okay, cool, he's not dead. But when he shot down, I'm like, that would have been a cool decision to make, to have him sacrifice himself. I'm like, cool, that's the end of your franchise. That's cool. That's a good decision to make. You know what?
I take back what I've said before. When Jennifer Connelly, it's not just a no homo thing. I guess it's also raising the stakes for Maverick's death. Because if he has no one in his life, it's not, in a way, you're like, oh, okay, Maverick died, whatever. But now he does have this woman who's going to be with him.
Who's going to take care of that aircraft?
And that daughter who doesn't want him to break her mother's, so he'll break her mother's heart again if he dies. So I take it back. It does have a storytelling purpose. It's not a very strong one. Like, I think we'd still be very invested in Top Maverick surviving anyway, but
we would.
Fine.
They get back to the boat, and there's a scene where obviously someone has definitely taken a black and white photo of Goose 2 and Hangman shaking hands. That will be used.
And just held it up for reference. And like, okay, no, move in a bit. Okay, no, your left arm is more
and
round.
700 people who work on the deck of this aircraft hangar all leave their posts and come and yell and shake hands and like that. Yeah, we did some stuff and you landed. Yeah, you also 2 planes are gone. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Not to the US military, it's not.
Oh, Val Kilmer's in the movie as well.
I was just going to say, we didn't mention the Val Kilmer scene. It was good.
I liked it. I think it's cool that those characters became such good friends and are close enough that Val Kilmer's texting him all the time, and he just goes over there sometimes.
To begin with, I was like, are they going to have Iceman in this movie just through text? But no, it's a better film than that. I was expecting it to be, but
it was cool.
There's so much in this movie that in less talented hands would be so awkwardly shoehorned in.
It'd feel cheesy as fuck.
But because it's who it is, like you see, so much in this movie is like it's not a good thing in my opinion, but it's the best version of that thing. And the best
for a film,
the best version of Iceman being in this movie was that scene, and it's actually quite good. I think, it's very elegant the way they introduce what's going on with him. Oh, that's why he gets kicked off the program later, because Iceman dies. And so
that's right. Yes.
And so that's why it's like, regardless of whatever happens now, you're out of the Air Force because your lifeline is gone in the form of Iceman. And I don't know a lot about the Val Kilmer situation. I just know that he can't really talk now. And so I really liked that they found a way for him to act in this scene. He's performing, There was a way for him to perform in the movie. It could be his last film, But they gave him something, and it wasn't a meaningless thing. Like it wasn't all about him. Maverick is in there saying stuff and carrying the scene, and it's about Maverick sort of moving through his shit as well.
It was
so very well done.
Scene.
Things can be good and bad, I guess that's what on different
bad things can be tasteful.
Yeah, bad things can be fun to consume.
As a consumer.
As a consumer of media.
But people should feel bad about making bad things. Just make good movies. How about people make good movies?
But this is a good movie, I think.
It is a good movie. It's no doubt.
But it's vulnerable to critique on a non-artistic level.
Where do you want to rank it on Daniel Craig's list?
Okay, so as you may or may not know,
could this Tom Cruise beat all the other Tom Cruises in a fight?
Yeah, sometimes we rank the actor when we're doing a particular actor. Sometimes we rank their films from best to worst, and sometimes we decide which of the various characters they played would win in a fight. But this is an episode.
If we ever did that for Tom Cruise, though, it's sad. But the Tom Cruise from The Mummy would beat them all
because
he gets fucking mummy superpowers at the end of that fucking shitty film.
Mm-hmm. But would A Day After Tomorrow Tom Cruise eventually figure out a way?
A Day After Tomorrow.
Sorry, not Day After Tomorrow. What is it? When he keeps coming back to life?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow, pardon me.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge
of Tomorrow, Tom Cruise would have
in
those
mech suit,
exo mech suit skeleton dudes.
In exo mech suit, and he has an eternity to figure it out.
He does have an eternity. But he has to die first. He has to be the first person to die on the battle. And that starts his loop.
Yeah, in the battle royale of Tom Cruise versus all other Tom Cruises. Well, this is another very rich discussion that we can start. But at the moment on our Tom Cruise ranking, I think this is the only Tom Cruise movie we've ever reviewed on this show.
Have we talked about how shit The Mummy in 2017 was?
No, but we can talk about it if we cover the other Mummy movies at a later date.
Oh, really? All of them?
But no, this is an episode of Watch a Movie and Talk About It for a bit. And so I think what we did previously was just score them out of 10 like a couple of basic bitches.
Yeah, we gave them popcorns, didn't we?
Yeah. And I guess leaving aside its role in the wider culture and just as a piece of art, it's probably like an 8 out of 10.
I would give it a solid 8, yeah.
It goes down very smooth and planes go very good whoosh and everyone's fun to watch. And there's no parts of it where I'm like, oh, you shouldn't have done that.
None.
And I think it advances the craft of filming planes go whoosh in really interesting and cool ways.
And it's never boring. It's quite long, but it doesn't feel too long.
Didn't feel long at all.
Yeah.
There was a little bit where I was like, okay, I feel like we've been training for a long time because it is all just about that one mission.
It is.
But it just starts to sag a little bit, and they're like, okay, let's just go do the fucking mission now.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
No,
that's what Tom Cruise
I reckon
says.
A solid 8.
Yeah.
On the pantheon of films that are just the sequel to, this is pretty good.
Yeah, so this is better than the first one.
This is better than the first movie. Clearly. I struggle to think of sequels that are just better than the first one, that are not really part of trilogies and stuff.
Well, I would argue Terminator 2. Even though I love Terminator 1, I don't think that's bad.
I do think Terminator 2 is a better film.
I think Terminator 2 edges out Terminator 1 by like 20-30%.
Yeah. The others, I think, where else that has gone, we don't.
And that's not like a trilogy thing or anything.
Yeah.
I think Terminator 2 is like the classic example of a sequel that's better than the original. that people will always bring up.
The Godfather.
The Godfather?
Part 2. Well, we know that Die Hard 2 is not better than Die Hard because it is the third best Die Hard film.
What does Star Wars count? Does
Empire
Strikes
I
Back?
don't think Empire is a better film than the first Star Wars film.
Okay.
I think they're on par.
I
Back
guess
to the no, the first one's still the best.
I guess
out of those.
everyone always says Spider-Man 2 is like the best
Spider-Man 2
like
is
superhero movie ever
great.
made. The Dark Knight.
That is a
I
sequel,
guess.
and it is better than Batman Begins.
It is, isn't it? But again, Batman Begins is great.
Yeah, but it's nowhere near as good as The Dark Knight.
See, I think what we're really thinking of, like for me,
But
what we're really trying to think of here that these movies aren't getting at is movies where like the first one is frankly not good, and then we're like, why are they making a sequel? And then the sequel is actually good as a surprise,
like Bambi.
like Bambi, classically.
It's not.
Like
The sequel is
2006
terrible.
classic Bambi 2.
Well, I'm trying to think of
Where the
shit
mother
films
comes
that got
back.
sequels, because shit films that got sequels turn out to be Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and it's just shit again. If Morbius gets a sequel, oh, there you go, The Suicide Squad. Technically a sequel,
Technically, yes.
better than the first one. Still not great,
Definitely.
but better than the first one.
Yeah, the Suicide Squad is better.
'Cause the first one sucked.
Yeah. I mean, Fasts and Furious have gotten better by some people's
I
judgment.
still think the first one
But
is
that's
the
not
best
like a-
movie, though.
But that's not like a 1-2. You know,
No.
we're looking for those 1-2s. Well, you know, let's
Deliberate.
well, this is a great opportunity for audience engagement. Everyone out there, you know, comment below. You can't do that with the podcast. What do you think is a sequel that was better than the original? It's got to be just like 1-2. You can't just, you know, they can't have like just slowly gotten better over time. Like Logan is better. They saved up all the good movie juice for the last one.
X-Men
as
2
far
is
as I'm
better than
concerned.
X-Men, but not exponentially. There are a lot of ones where the sequel is nowhere near as good. Like Rambo.
Yeah. Jaws.
No, I was going to say Rocky, but Rocky 2 is not as good. It's great. It's just not as good.
So really, Terminator's the only other example we've thought of at the moment.
Yeah.
Terminator and then this.
But even
I
Terminator
can't believe this in this world of sequels.
in our world is literally sequels.
Our world is sequels. No, this is the only one. Which surprises me.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a good movie.
It's just gonna
If you haven't seen it yet, I'm sorry that we spoiled it all, but go see it. It's fun.
It's just gonna encourage people, isn't it, now that this one was so good? They're gonna be, oh, what other movie is it mental to make a sequel to, but it could actually be good? And they won't work because it's not Tom Cruise.
Roadhouse.
Yeah, well, I don't really know much about Gen 5. It's
We
It's
don't
one-
have
it's one of
Patrick
those-
Swayze anymore. We can't.
one of those Gen 5. Just bring it back as a hologram
Of Patrick Swayze.
reanimate. No, as of something else. Replace him with a hologram of Tupac, but it's actually Patrick Swayze the whole time. All right, thanks for listening, everyone. If you've enjoyed, I guess you can follow us on Twitter at ExceptionalPod or on Instagram at ExceptionalThieves, or send us an email at exceptionalthieves@gmail.com. We spend hours reading them all, responding to them all, challenging your assertions, issuing affidavits, doxing people. There's a lot
We'll
going
get back
on
to
the
you
email
if you
account.
send an email.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. And as we always sign off every episode, keep on
Whoosh.
whoosh. Keep on whooshing, baby.
Talk to me, Goose.
I
But
imagine
that's
if,
the end.
imagine if they just like, and then like Goose's face starts to like blend into the, but it's like that actor now, and it's like, press the NOS, and then
Use the force.
he uses the Goose Force, and that's how they win. That's
I
literally
think
what
Goose
happens.
2 is a much better call sign than Rooster.
Better title for this movie, frankly.
Goose 2.
Juice
Top
and
Gun. Goose.
Juice and Goose.
Top Gun. Goose.
Loose Goose. Loose Goose should be his. That's better than just Goose.
Well, I think he was a loose goose. And that's why they call him Goose.
Is this me only just catching up with what the film was doing the whole
I
time?
think so, yeah.
Welcome back to Catching Up with the Film.
And why would they call him Rooster? Because if anything, it should be Gosling. Like,
Yeah.
like the baby Goose. But because none of them knew that Goose was his dad because they only found that fucking photo. Nothing.
Yeah.
We've stopped talking about it. It's a
right,
great film. Go
It's
see
fine.
it.
Gen 5.
5th gen.
Oh, shit. I've been saying
Gen 5 is a different thing.
Gen 5? Is that like a kids band or something?
This week on Gen 5.
Yeah. This is why people come to us for all of our film fucking knowledge.